God, it feels like this fight is just going on and on and on and on. I am really starting to get a little bit of fatigue on this fight, although it seems like it's still introducing things. So I'm on episode 10 of Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Entertainment District arc, and we have one more episode. And it's already been announced that one more episode will be a 45-ish minute long episode. So a 2-episode length episode to really kind of wrap things up, because obviously things are still not done. What would we be, like, probably two hours, I think, for this fight total. So it's been going a while. I mean, I'm loving every bit of it. The Football's doing some amazing stuff, and like I said, they're still technically introducing stuff within the episode. Quite a lot technically happened within this fight in this particular episode that we're going to get into, but I don't know. I guess happy to say that I was right. Not really happy to say I was right, but yeah, Inosuke, yes, moved his organs, which I assumed was going to be the thing. Like, okay, well, they're even acknowledging with Gotoro saying, I literally hit him in the heart. I kind of had a thought that, maybe because it was just to the side of the center point, maybe they're going to say it kind of went around it just barely, but no. Inosuke confirms that, the act of moving my organs is nothing to me because I've been living in the mountains. Obviously, because you've been living in the mountains, you typically do that, I know a couple people that have been living in the mountains, and they say that, yes, that's something that you do on a regular basis, is you learn how to move your organs, so... And that the poison wouldn't affect him, obviously, too, even though he's just like Tengen, he's just spitting out blood like crazy. But yeah, I kind of assumed everybody was going to be fine, but there was a hope for there that they were going to do something interesting with just Tanjiro and Nezuko finishing off the fight. But I guess that's my only big letdown with this episode, was that I was kind of hoping for that Tanjiro-Nezuko pair to finally happen. And it felt like it was going to happen. Like, when the episode opens up, it's literally Nezuko saying, stop apologizing to everybody else. Why are you apologizing to everybody else? Are you, she was going through like all these things about feeling pity and the idea of, we're poor, but we're happy. Are you saying that it's bad that dad died to illness? All these things, and then eventually she gets to the point where she says, I want you to understand how I feel, which I think what it's implying here is she feels like she wants to protect him, and he's always spending all of his time protecting her. He never allows her to protect him, and so she's like, you should understand how I feel, we should fight. And so I was like, right there, I'm like, okay, he's gonna go over there and he's gonna say, wake up, Nezuko, and she's gonna be, charging in there and fight. But no, Nezuko. I don't understand what they were trying to build up there. Maybe I missed something, but it was technically him continuing to fight, which at this point, it's him versus Gotoro. It didn't turn into them exchanging blows. It would turn into basically Gotoro being interested in Tanjiro. He says that obviously he's been saying it for the longest time now, and yes, an entire episode of Gotoro and his little quirks that grain a little bit, but pushing heavily on Tanjiro being this disgusting person, this failure. And he's pointing out, yeah, that must be your sister, right? And he's like, yeah, that's my little sister. And he's like, you're so weak. You can't even protect your sister. Like, pretty much he's saying, like, I can protect my sister. Why can't you protect? Oh, well, obviously because she's a demon and you're a human. You're obviously weaker than her. You're pathetic. But then, yeah, I was thinking I was going to get into it here, but it eventually gets into it. Yes, he offers up to Tanjiro, you're interesting to me. I like disgusting things, and you're disgusting. And he's like messing with his burn mark, and he eventually says, I'll make you a demon, and then you can hang out with me. We'll be friends. And I'm like, what? How cool would it be? And now granted, he can't just turn immediately and kill Gyotaro because it would change. It would technically revert him back. But could you imagine Tanjiro like accepting it? Like, just why not? Like, why would it be so far off from mentality of, I'm going to die anyways, and if I die, he's going to kill Nezuko. Yes, granted, it's the whole idea of the hero, and the hero always has to stand by his morals and stand by his goal, which is to kill demons and to free his sister, but why not use the power of the demons to do that? It was like one of those brief moments where I'm like, this would be really cool if they branched it off right here. Why not have Tanjiro become a demon, gain that power, and then these two demons, him and Nezuko, go off and kill Mozen? Now, granted, Tanjiro would need to go through some strict training just like Nezuko did. The only reason Nezuko doesn't go bonkers crazy is because it was instilled upon her mind the moment she became a demon to protect humans over and over again. So Tanjiro would kind of have to go through the same ordeal. But even still, Nezuko can lose herself. So, I don't know, it was just a cool thought. And I kind of assumed that's where it was going. These two demon siblings kind of going, hey, why don't you become demon siblings? Why not? I mean, what's to hold you? You're so weak, and the only way you're going to protect your sister is if you give into and take this power. But yeah, like I said, Tanjiro, too good boy, says no, headbutts him, runs off, gets the crap beat out of him, and eventually throws some stuff at him, which he doesn't realize masks the smell of this kunai, and the kunai hits him in the leg, kind of makes him unable to move, and Tanjiro goes in for the killing blow. Yes, Zenitsu is still alive. He starts darting after Daki, and yeah, additionally, Inosuke popping up and saying, oh, by the way, I'm not dead. I'm spitting blood everywhere, but I'm not dead. Gyotaro regains himself, stops Tanjiro, and that's when Tengen shows up. So Tengen's not dead. Tengen was just... I think Gyotaro suspects that Tengen used his muscles to stop his own heart. That's why he thought he was dead. So Tengen's still alive, going crazy, and they're just fighting all out. Crazy battle happening. And then, yeah, it comes to the final point where... Golly. So, some point, Tengen takes a nasty gash to the eye. So, it literally it shows the cut go through his eye. So, he's... At this point, if Tengen somehow survives, and again, at this point, I'm doubting that he's going to survive. I mean, and there's a hope that, again, he's going to be just retired because he's so debilitated, lost a hand, lost an eye, but he's gone through some crazy stuff at this point. But yeah, as the fight goes on, Tanjiro jumps in there and... Yeah, ouch. Takes that one of those sickles straight through the chin. I think it went through his tongue too. That's some major blood loss, or at least blood injection of the poison. So yeah, and then everybody at the same time, super cut, and yeah, totally convenient. I knew this was gonna happen. Totally conveniently, the heads roll to look at each other, obviously, because you have to have that last little moment of them talking. And yeah, as Tanjiro's trying to fight to hold off the poison that's just completely consuming him at this point, Tengen's running towards him and saying run because it's not over. And yeah, big blood explosion from Gotoros body. I don't know. That's the big question mark. I was going to assume it was just going to be a thing where it was like a blood explosion, that Gotoros' final breath was to explode his body and kill everybody in the area. But Tengen says it's not done. Now, Tengen could be saying it's not done because he's going to blow himself up and we need to get that out of here. But I don't know. It was a really cool outro, by the way, just showing the cast and showing like the explosion and just everything's like slowly kind of falling from the sky and everything's kind of slowly, the fires are slowly dissipating. It was a really cool shot. So I don't know, it's just an artistic choice. I don't necessarily think that it's like, that was the calming, like everything's done and it's just all quiet. It could be. I do know at this point, Shinobu's gotta show up. Like, I think if anybody's gonna survive, I mean, technically Tengen does have an elixir he gave to one of his wives at some point, but I think for Tanjiro to survive at this point, I'm assuming that Shinobu's gonna show up because she's like the one that's like really good with poisons. Like she was the one that resuscitated Zenitsu when he was super poisoned by that spider dude. But Tengen could have the ability to, I don't know, maybe like that close to that big explosion. The assumption at this point is that maybe Tengen's going to shield Tanjiro, and so Tanjiro's going to wake up, Tengen's going to be dead, shielding him, and then Shinobu shows up, she gives them, elixir, because obviously every time a big battle like this happens, suddenly at the very end when the dust settles, everybody shows up. At the very end, everybody shows up. But yeah, it's, I don't know. I'm very curious at this point if the fight's over. Obviously, we have a 45-minute episode next week. That could just be, the aftermath, just to kind of, things settle and everybody's being taken to be taken care of. Muzen's talking to somebody to say how terrible things are going. Kaguya could be talking about, how they've lost another soldier if Tengen dies. It could be a lot of just discussion, but typically, I mean, at least with Mugen Train, we didn't see the aftermath stuff. It was in the next, the next season that they started getting that stuff. So, I don't know. I honestly hope it's over at this point, because if Daki and Gyotaro are still alive at this point, I'm going to be kind of annoyed. But at the same time, I don't necessarily see another fight wrapping up in 45 minutes. So if Gyotaro and Daki could be alive, that's going to frustrate me, but, obviously it's going to push them to have to do something to fight them off. Again, with so much focus on Nezuko asking to help, which I'm assuming is what she's doing, I would hope that maybe with the next episode opens up and maybe Gyotaro and Taki are still alive and Nezuko and Tanjiro have to take him down. You'll have Tengen, shielding Tanjiro. Tanjiro wakes up and then we finally get that Nezuko-Tanjiro fight, with the other two siblings. Because again, it's pushing so much on the idea that he is weak and she is strong. It'd be cool to have this moment where Gyotaro realizes these two siblings are the one that takes me out, not Tengen. Seems like so much focus is on siblings and how Tanjiro can't help Nezuko. It could be that wrap-up point, but it could be a thing where the aftermath of the fight is Tanjiro realizing that he's not strong enough to protect his sister. On the other hand, if they are dead, I wonder if we'll see Muzan or, again, Akaza showing up. And because Akaza loves showing up at the end of battles to finish things up, so again, we could possibly get that wrap-up of Akaza. So the other thing that I almost forgot to talk about is, yes, we did technically have Tanjiro have his mark on his face. It wasn't just the burn mark, but in actuality, like, this whole tattoo comes across his face that looks almost like a flame. So kind of, I don't know, it's in that same realm of, like, I guess they'll eventually explain this whole scenario, but I'm assuming by what they said with Rengoku's father was that anybody that has this mark is obviously somebody that's able to do this ability, just like his father had this mark, but he's like, no, it was a burn mark. His father's looked like a burn mark too, or like a birthmark, but this was a different mark. This was, again, very much like a tattoo, like a flame going across his face. Now, again, I don't know if that's just him using the ability and it has nothing to do with what the mark is that his father had. But again, it goes back to the whole thing where my assumption is that either Tanjiro thinks that mark came from the burn and that it was actually the same birthmark that his father had, or that the mark itself is not necessarily an indication, but a sign of self-sacrifice. So yeah, we'll see, I guess. Either way, the cliffhangers suck, and I'm tired of the cliffhangers, but thankfully we only have one more cliffhanger before the season ends up, so I'll definitely be here next week to talk about how things wrap up. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below, comment, let me know what's thought of the episode, subscribe if you haven't already, share this video if you can, support us on Patreon or through our tips link in the description below. We definitely appreciate everybody that does, and y'all take care.